Today we're doing Math 6, Mission 4, Lesson 5. How many groups, Part 2. All right. Our warm-up. Write a fraction or a whole number as an answer for each question. If you get stuck, use the fraction strip. Be prepared to share your strategy. So we are going to really use the fraction strip in order to understand why these things work, okay? Why our answers are what they are. So one says, how many 1/2s are in 2? So if we go down to this fraction strip, you can see I have one whole here and then another whole here. And we want to know how many 1/2s are in 2. So if I look here, this is my 1/2 line. And so I can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 1/2s in 2 wholes. So how many 1/2s are in 2? There are 4. So we can write this as 2 divided by 1/2 equals 4. Because it's asking us, if I were to take 2 wholes and divide it into 1/2 increments, how many 1/2 increments will there be? And you can see down here, there are 4. All right. How many 1/5s are in 3? Well, let's go down here and find the 1/5 line. Here's our 1/5 line. Now, to this point, that's 1, and then everything else beyond that is 2. So if we're on this 1/5, how many 1/5s are in 1? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1/5s in 1. So if there's 5 in 1 whole, how many are in 3 whole? Well, that would be like saying 5 times 3, because there are 5 1/5s in 1, and we need 3 of those. And 5 times 3 is 15. So if I do this, I have 1, so that's 5, 10, 15, if I do that 3 times. So how many 1/5s are in 3? 15. We could also write this 3 divided by 1/5, because that's saying we have 3 wholes and we need to divide them into 1/5 increments. How many 1/5s will there be in those 3? And there are 15 1/5s. All right. How many 1/8s are in 1 and 1/4? Okay, so we have 1 whole, and here's our 1/8 line. So how many 1/8s are in 1? Right? And then we also have 1/4, though, 1 and 1/4. So let's go to the 1/4 line. Okay. Here is our 1/4 line. And to this point, that gets us 1, but we want 1 and 1/4. So we need to add another 1/4 onto this. So we're looking all the way up here. Well, let's pull this down and see where it lines up with our 8s. So how many 1/8s do we have in 1 and 1/4? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 1/8s in 1 and 1/4. So that would be like saying I have 1 and 1/4 divided by 1/8 to get me 10. Now, we never do mixed numbers when we actually go to solve this. So let's turn this into an improper fraction. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So that would also be like saying 5/4 divided by 1/8 equals 10. All right, 4 says 1 divided by 2/6. Okay, so we could reduce 2/6 because we have a 1/6 line, but we don't have 2/6 increments. 2 and 6 are even numbers, so we can reduce that. So 2 and 6 can actually be reduced to 1 and 3, so 1/3. Okay? So how many 1/3 are in 1? That's what it's asking us. Well, let's go to the 1/3 line. How many 1/3? There's 1, 2, 3. So 1 divided by 2/6 equals 3. Right? So we could also say this is 1 divided by 1/3 equals 3. Now, if we wanted to look at the 2/6, we could do it this way, where you have, let me go here. This is 2/6, this is 2/6, and this is 2/6. So how many 2/6 do we have? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 2/6. Okay. All right. 5 says 2 divided by 2/9. So it's similar to what we did with the 1/6, how we combined them to get 2/6. We're going to do that with 9 as well. But our whole is 2. Our whole is 2. So we are going to go down to 1/9. But we're going to do it by 2s. So here's 2/9. Here's another 2/9, 2/9, 2/9, 2/9, 2/9, 2/9, 2/9, 2/9. So how many 2/9 do we have? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 2/9 divided by, 2 divided by 2/9 is 9. Whoa, that zoomed in for me. Okay. 6, 4 divided by 2/10 equals what? Well, just like 2/6 could be reduced, 2/10 could also be reduced, especially because we don't have tenths on our fraction diagram. So 2/10 can be reduced to 1/5. So we're really doing 4 divided by 1/5. Okay, so I'm going to look at my 1/5 line, and I want to know how many times 1/5 can go, like 4 gets divided into 1/5. Well, up here, we learned that there are 5 1/5 in 1, and so we multiplied it by our whole, which is 3. So we're going to do that same thing here. So that's 4 times 5, which equals 20, right? And there were 15 1/5 up here. So if we had one more whole, which is 5 more 1/5, we get 20, which is what it should be. All righty. Your teacher will give you pattern blocks as shown here. Use them to answer the following questions. Okay, if the trapezoid represents one whole, so in our previous lesson, the hexagon was one whole, but not anymore. Now it's the trapezoid. So right here, this is our one whole. If the trapezoid represents one whole, what do each of the following shapes represent? Be prepared to show or explain your reasoning. Okay, so we are going to use our diagram again. So we have our trapezoid. Okay, now it asks for one triangle. So how many triangles fit in here? I don't know why it's not lining up, but we'll do it this way. So 3 triangles. It does not want to cooperate for me today. 3 triangles cover one trapezoid. So one triangle, just one triangle, would be 1 out of 3. So if we go here, we have our trapezoid, and then we have 3 triangles, and each one is 1 out of 3. So one triangle would equal 1/3 of the whole. Okay, now one rhombus. So now we're looking at this one rhombus. So let's go back here. So one rhombus, how does it fit with this trapezoid? Well, you can see one rhombus covers a lot, but not all of the trapezoid. So what do we have left over? Well, we have a triangle. We have a triangle left over. Now, how many triangles does the, or how many triangles fit within the rhombus? Well, you can see there are 2 that fit in the rhombus. So one rhombus is what part of a trapezoid? Well, it's 2/3 of a trapezoid. So here's our trapezoid. Here's our rhombus, right? So this covers 2/3 of the trapezoid, and we have 1/3 left over. So one rhombus is 2/3. Now, what about one hexagon? So here's your trapezoid, that's your one hole, and then here's your hexagon. So you can see the hexagon covers the whole of the trapezoid, and then we have even more left over. So a hexagon is actually 2 whole trapezoids. So if we're going to go here, a hexagon is actually 2 whole trapezoids. So one hexagon is worth 2 trapezoids. All right. Use pattern blocks to represent each multiplication equation. Use the trapezoid to represent the one whole. All right. So we have 3 times 1/3 is 1. All right. So we need 3 of some shape to equal 1. That's what it's saying. And 1/3, we know that the 1/3 is a triangle. So when I draw my trapezoid, because the answer is 1, so we need to draw our trapezoid because that is 1, we should have 3 triangles in there, each triangle worth 1/3. And there are 3 1/3, so 3 times 1/3 is 1. And we can see that because 3 over 1 times 1 over 3 equals 3 over 3, which reduces to 1. B, 3 times 2/3 is 2. Does that work? Is that right? 3 times 2/3 is 2. Well, we know the 2/3 is the rhombus. So do 3 rhombuses equal 2 trapezoids? Because that's what it's saying. 3 rhombuses equals 2 trapezoids. Well, let's go look. So it's saying 3 rhombuses equal 2 trapezoids. Let's see if we can make this work. So here's 1. Here's another. But I don't really understand, where's this going? Well, let's try this. We have this here. It covers half of it. So what if we, turn this one over and put that here. Oh, shoot. And then this one goes here. So in fact, 3 rhombuses do make 2 trapezoids. So we would draw this as 1 trapezoid this way and 1 trapezoid that way. And then we would have 1 rhombus, 2 rhombus, 3 rhombus. So this would be 2/3, this would be 2/3, and this would be 2/3. All right. Diego and Jada were asked how many rhombuses are in a trapezoid. Diego says 1 1/3. If I put 1 rhombus on a trapezoid, the leftover shape is a triangle, which is 1/3 of the trapezoid. Jada says, I think it's 1 1/2. Since we want to find out how many rhombuses, we should compare the leftover triangle to a rhombus. A triangle is 1/2 of a rhombus. So is the answer 1 1/3 or 1 1/2? So if we have this trapezoid, right? That's our hole. And we put a rhombus there, right? We are talking in rhombuses. So we have 1 whole rhombus, and then what we're really trying to figure out is this triangle. Is this triangle worth 1/2 or is this triangle worth 1/3? Well, if we're talking in terms of trapezoids, then that equals 1/3. We just talked about that up there. But we are talking about how many rhombuses are in there. So that's like if we go all the way back up here, that's like saying how many 1/2s are in 1 versus how many 1/4s are in 1. They are different because they're different sizes, right? So when we go down here, we have to talk in terms of rhombuses, right? So there's 1 whole rhombus, and then this part here is what part of a rhombus? Well, if this is a rhombus, a triangle is 1/2 of a rhombus because 2 triangles make up 1 rhombus. So if the rhombuses are whole, if that's 1, then a triangle is now worth 1/2, not 1/3. So this is actually a half of a rhombus. So the correct answer is Jada's. All right, let's go to number 4. Select all equations that can be used to answer the question. How many rhombuses are in a trapezoid? So we have 1 trapezoid, right? So we're going to look at division problems here. And yeah, C is the only one that has 1 as the divisor. Sorry, as the dividend. So you have 1 here divided by 2/3 and is a rhombus 2/3 of the trapezoid? Yes. So this one works. Now, because it's a division problem, we can also do a multiplication problem from that, right? So our 1 becomes our answer, and B is the only one that has 1 as our answer, right? So let's see, if I did something divided or times 2/3, that should equal 1. Because I did 1 divided by 2/3 equals something. Okay? Please review your lesson summary.